Gibby, what do you got for us?
You could let's be clear about this.
You lost to $2,000. Welcome to episode number 50, the big 50 of Gus and Gawny.
We've just run through the banner.
Yeah, it's amazing because there are 5 people in this room that were all there day one.
What
and then you weren't there day 2, which is weird.
Weird. Strange.
And then day 3, we all recommitted again, and we're all still here. They've tried to shut us down a couple of times.
Worth noting, a lot of times there was a huge momentum wave behind Get Rid of Gibby, the Get Rid of Gibby move. That happened, the news hound.
Which a lot of people thought we started.
No, and that would be a mistake.
That was pushed from above. Yeah, and we actually went into fight for you.
I'm as surprised as anyone that I made 50, but it's great to be here.
And Stefan, can't go unnoticed the work that Stefan does. Yeah. For those that, again, the Gus and Gawny wedding package that we announced 4 to 5 weeks ago, Stefan still really wants to do some
Any
work.
Progress there? Nah, no progress.
Nothing,
we actually got a few nibbles.
We got a few nibbles, so it's obviously an off-season thing.
Sure, has to be.
Because we'd like to get in on the fun at the wedding. Sort of like take this with a grain of salt. Wedding crashes, how they not how they go back to the house of the girls that were there, but
more than just the fun bit, the fun part at the wedding.
When they make speeches,
eating some cake.
Awesome. I'd love to cut some cake. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Straight off the top, again, you're in the news. You're just in the news, and it's going to happen.
Helping out MND, great cause. Obviously, a great union between club and cause that we've been with. It's the 8th Big Freeze game now, so. Privileged to be involved. I've been involved in all of them as well. I came to the club in the first year, so it's I went and saw Beck yesterday for the launch and got involved there. Is that what you're talking about? That news?
So I'm going to put up a predicament. I think it's a predicament.
Well, I think let me be the judge of that.
It could be a predicament. Might not be.
Okay.
If you are signed by round 23, I'm presuming that's when it's going to get done towards the end of the year.
Yep.
You first of all, you pledge your announcement either way to Gus and Gawny.
Okay, so this is where I'll break the news.
Yes.
Okay.
And if it's, hey, I'm staying at Melbourne.
Yep.
We'll talk about what we can do for 2023. We'll talk about revamping the podcast. It'll be an exciting podcast. Could go for an hour.
Yep.
If you decide you're going to join the young buck and the old hound or whoever that is over there, we shake hands and say it was a good run. Yeah.
Well. Look, that's I certainly commit to giving you guys the scoop.
Is that a predicament?
And it is certainly it's a predicament for the podcast going forward. But
that's good. That's all. No, don't say anything else because you end up on Fox Footy.
Understood. We don't want to be on Fox Footy anymore.
Another thing that we got approval during the week and a few comments in and around the social medias, and I even got a couple around the club about this positive vibe that we're trying to bring, and we're trying to revamp the podcast, and we're attacking Sun. There's some people saying that maybe we've gone back down the non-positive langers, which is fair because the word putrid was used, and if I get you're the social media manager, but I do have, I can put in my thoughts there at some point. Putrid maybe was too far.
Sure.
But I'll let everyone know, and this is a big sigh of relief to those fans of Lingers out there, is he's given us his blessing.
Oh, you did speak to him?
Yeah, he's given us his blessing.
Oh, well, that's awesome. And look, what I would say to that end is that we got some feedback. Obviously, we love hearing from our listeners, and we sort of got the... and from Lingers too, he was pretty happy to let positive Lingers just go off into the sunset.
Mate, he's had 39 the week he's been caught at the pub reading the book with Birkenstocks and a blend black socks.
So, notwithstanding all of that, he gave us the green light to... And we signed off on it, stamped it, and off he went into the sunset. And then this Wild Sun stuff popped up when he got seen at a Flower Expo. And I feel like this is a new chapter of Sun. So, look, I'll rein back in the putrid, and I understand that's not a good look. That's not what we're about. Okay. But forgive me, the positive Lingers era may have passed, and I'm just looking at a new leaf. I love the kit, though. Let the kit be known.
Yeah, the kit was good. Another question on the socials is, where does Wild Sun come from?
So the Sun stuff...
sorry, not wild. Where does Sun come from?
Wild is a word from the Latin derivative, meaning free from captivity.
Okay,
and
but Sun.
So wild...
Why is his nickname Sun?
So Andrew, my brother...
Yep.
has spent 4 years as Lingers teammates.
Best player in the AFL, apparently. Andrew.
He's up there at the moment. And there's this, Chris Lilly, you would have heard of some of his shows that he does.
I'm a big fan of Summer Heights High.
Yep. So there's another one, and I watched Summer Heights High and really didn't get too far invested in. He's done a heap
Angry
of other
Boys.
ones. Yeah, there's other characters.
We Can Be Heroes.
And one of the other characters is a 10-foot giant girl.
Yeah,
at
Becky.
school. And her
Lunatics.
boyfriend is a young kid called Sun Ling.
Oh, is it?
And Andrew and Ed had this weird bond over apparently Ed Langdon and Sun Ling have some character traits that Andrew said, stuff, and I'm just calling you. Maybe it could have even been just Langers, as simple as Langers and Lingers.
Yep. Hopefully there's more.
Yeah, I'll dig. You know what? I'll come into that anyway. So Ed gets traded, obviously, and Andrew gets on the phone. It was the same with Austin Bradkey, Chronic Bradkey.
Yep.
A few times I've gone on the phone and said, you have to call this bloke Tsun Ling. And so I did. And sure enough, He's his third year now, and literally everyone calls him Tsun. So there's a bit of story behind that. I'll call Andrew. Maybe we could get Andrew as the podcast guest next week to explain
Episode 51.
a bit more in depth.
That'll suit episode 51.
Yeah. So
another one that come across my desk is some people wanted to know. They heard on the grapevine that there was a duck in our team.
Sure.
I just wanted to explain that one as well. Mitch Brown, he gets the nickname Duck. And it's basically because he tore Jake Lever up on one day in an intra club. I think he kicked 10.
Yeah. And
they were all duck carry type marks on the lead, Dukes out, some a couple of like contested chest marks, and went back and sodded him. He actually, when Brownie's on, he plays like duck carry.
Six on the weekend.
Kick 6 on the weekend.
In good form. In the theme of just clarifying a few things, I actually got asked the other day, you've got 2 redheads in your team. Which one's Sauce? Is it Jake Bowie? Is it Oscar Baker?
We have 4 redheads.
Who are the other? Oh, yeah.
Petty
2
and Oliver.
flamers. Absolutely.
Oliver's a flamer, isn't he?
No, he's more, I would say, straw.
Petty's straw.
Okay, well,
Okay, sorry.
The 2 most flaming redheads
Bowie's flaming.
He's got a head on fire, and Oscar Baker. And I got asked who's taken the Sauce moniker, and I put that one to bed. For those who are wondering, Clary is called Clary.
Yep.
Jake Bowie's called Bowser.
No, and sometimes like Sport or Muscles or
Muscles, big guy. And Oscar Baker, being the first authentic flamer, is called Sauce. So we just clean. I like what we're doing here, just cleaning.
You don't. Yeah, you can't get the nickname Sauce until one sauce moves on.
Exactly. So he
can't have 2 sauces.
You can't have 2 sauces.
I've never had 2 sauces in the cupboard.
No, of course not.
No.
What are you? You're not a psychopath.
No, cupboard or fridge.
I'm a cupboard guy.
Yeah, I'm a cupboard guy as well.
Danielle might be a fridge girl.
Cupboard.
Anyway, it's weird at our joint.
So we cleared up nicknames.
Yeah, we've done a few bits and bobs there.
Okay, I'm looking forward to what you're going to get to because you have 4 things written on your piece of paper.
But,
we've covered off all 4.
So. You haven't.
I've got a Max Gorn tweet up here.
Yep.
Your tweets go quite well, get a bit of traction. This one's about scissors, paper, rock.
Yep.
Can you explain?
So I was thinking about bringing it up on the podcast first, but I didn't.
Yep.
So about 2 months ago.
Well, I mean, here we are on the...
Before
you tweeted... Yeah, sure, you've tweeted.
About 2 months ago, I consciously made a decision to change from rock to paper in my first go.
Wow. Why?
So I was a rock till I die.
Okay,
and if I die with rock...
What, are you one of those big alpha dogs who
and if I die... if I die with rock, that's better than going anything else and winning with anything else. I just go rock. And then I thought, I'm losing way too many rock-offs. At home, like Jess is beating me like 9 times out of 10.
Okay.
So I've said to myself, let's start going paper. And I've started going paper and my life has changed.
How many times a week are you playing paper, scissors, rock?
A lot.
Okay.
My life has changed.
Sure.
Like, who wants to feed George?
Wow.
Well, obviously I can't do much in that department now, but...
2,600 likes on your...
Yeah. So I've gone paper, and now, especially with people that know this, since I put the tweet out, there's the double bluff element.
Yeah, 100%.
And I can still go paper, or I can, if I'm reading what they're reading, I'm jumping back on rock or going scissors.
So there is a study that's been published, and I can get this up for the podcast next week. The mind tricks, the psychology behind paper, scissors, rock, which almost guarantees you to win every single time, which is something I've read a bit, and I don't lose to Danielle anymore. So the home stuff is awesome.
I'm presuming we go quick. Like, we're not even thinking about rock, paper, scissors. I go, can I go to coffee? I will rock off to see who gets it. No time to think. You're going rock. Nah, see, but a lot of alpha males do.
I know, but
because they got no time to think.
Alpha males are historically
You're
very
alpha.
stupid.
You're a little bit alpha.
I'm too smart to be into that stuff. So, for example, if I was playing against Jonesy, for example, he's going to throw a rock every time. If I'm playing against you...
Jonesy's rock till he dies.
Yeah, he's got rocks. galore. I look at you, and my initial
exactly. That's why paper's so good for me.
Would be you're a different guy. You like to do your own thing. So maybe I just throw like a crazier. I'd potentially play paper against or you just because you're a crazy
scissors
guy.
people. I don't even get them. They should be seeing.
Danielle's a scissors girl.
They should see someone.
Danielle has real trouble because she can't help herself, and I can see her. She throws scissors as she's throwing it. She realizes that I'm doing this again, and of course
because scissors people makes no sense because 80% of the world goes rock, so you're going to lose.
Yeah, is a scissors person just as stubborn as a rock person? Because they would always lose and like stuff it. This is going to turn for me one day.
The scissors person is trying to catch out the person that's trying to catch out the rock.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I mean, way too
low percentage. Yeah.
It is an awesome game. We should. I'll send the paper through. We can read through it next week and maybe have a game.
Yeah, but my life has changed. It's been beautiful. Jess is literally doing everything. It's great.
Awesome. I'm happy for
We
it.
rock off for a lot of things at home, and I've feet on the couch type stuff for me.
What do you, Gibbo?
I can't remember the last time I played it.
Really?
Maybe primary school.
Wow.
Well, we have to have about a 3-hour cooling off period before any of us can do it because we've now talked about it.
Exactly. It has to be a reflex thing.
Yeah,
you can't have a
pre-plan.
pre-plan. Although I'm always planning. So.
Well, I'm paper first.
So look. Anyway, I think I beat you on that one. But then after that, it's anyone's game. But I've got tricks, and we'll talk about it next week. But obviously we've got no guest.
No.
And the people looking at our...
well, it'll say 50th episode.
50th episode, and there'll be a big, bold... I'm hoping for some bold writing. But the astute listener will realise there's no name of any guest. And that's because we didn't get one this week. And there's no other way around it.
We had Reece Conker, who's not in today. Then we had Christian Salem, who came up with some weird excuse.
And we were
Then we even tossed up interviewing Gibbo, and then we thought, well, we want to keep our listeners.
Yeah, exactly.
Going
so
forward.
We left that one through the keeper. And what instead happened was I was late, and I had to do this gym stuff. But I was thinking about in the gym, I said, what could, it's our 50th episode, what would be an appropriate way to celebrate it? And I thought we could potentially, and I know you had a jab at me before for not writing things down, but I've got here my top 3 Gus and Gawny episodes of all time.
Okay.
And it's an interactive way we can loop in our listeners is to, send in their potential best moments, top 3 moments, top 3 episodes. And I've written my 3 down. Gibbo, and look, we've come in pretty obviously half-baked here for this episode, so I don't know if you've got a top 3 yourself, but I'm happy to start with mine. And we'll go.
Yeah, give us yours.
We'll go 3, 2, 1. So 3 being third on the podium as opposed to the Brownlow vote counting method. So my third favourite moment, in hindsight, it wasn't super awesome for me at the time, but looking back on it now, which I've done a little bit of, the day where I zoomed in from my abode, stoned on endone and in my dressing gown.
Yep.
And there's that video that you've clipped and put up, Steph, of me hopping around, looking like a bit of a goose and with my head shaved and just in a real bad state. I remember looking at that and thinking, geez, how far have we come in many ways, but I remember really enjoying that day. And it wasn't an awesome podcast. It was just the endone. So that was 3 for me.
Yep. Do you have a 3?
I'll agree on that episode because we were sitting in Purdy's hotel room in Maroochydore.
Yep.
And it was just a great experience.
It was.
Because it was not like my hotel room.
No, Purdy had a house.
Yeah, on
A
the
houseboat.
water.
On
It was in the middle of the water.
Yeah, a houseboat.
Oh, my God. That's on the Lake of Maroochydore, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, those are the days.
Incredible.
Maxwell?
My third would be probably our most popular.
Okay.
And it's when we went down the movie path.
Sure.
We had 3 top 10s, mine, yours, and Hamish Blake's. Hamish's were way cooler than ours. They were like the OG, everything that was like the first time it was funny.
I
A
remember
lot of Monty Python, nothing Wayne's World, like stuff like that. Like
He had some team. Look,
and we both fell to like putting like Step Brothers in and stuff like that, which is real like potty humour.
Yeah, he's obviously on it. And look, maybe there's a reason why he's a career professional comedian, and we're just sitting around here.
There's still some great chat between the club. I've got one person who agrees with me about Johnny English, and it's Ben Brown, which I'm not sure helps me with my street cred. But I remember coming back from that app, and the next day I walked into the club, and Brownie goes, "Maxie, great call with Johnny English." I'm like, "Oh no, I've had a miss."
Because the socials, I remember looking at those socials that after that episode, and there was a lot of for a customer base who love the positiveness. A lot of negativity around Johnny English.
Yeah, there was.
So look, I'm glad, and Benny Brown's a good ally to have.
He is. So what's your second?
Have someone in your trenches with you. It's Benny Brown. My second one, and I am going to lump these two in together because they were the same week, and I feel like in the same sort of they fit the same bill. So when we had Lingers in and when we won the premiership and had our impromptu Premiership Cup chat on the ground afterwards, I remember that was the most incredible week having Lingers on, all the build up, and then obviously the what's it called, the improvisation where we've taken the cup and we've had a chat with that. That was pretty cool as well.
What was that word?
Episode number.
What was that word?
Improvisation.
I reckon you
improvisation.
said improvisation. That's what you said.
Improvisation.
Is that what it is?
Improvisation. Take your pick.
Well, let's pick one.
They spelled the exact same.
Well, one sounds like it's got a Z and not an S.
Okay, Max.
Anyway.
Off you go.
I would hold the cup to 1 as a spoiler. That's
okay.
Top of the table. Number 2, I'm going to say the first episode with Deborah.
Oh, Deborah Gay.
Yep, Deborah.
Not everything made the podcast.
Really?
That one. There was a cut that had us in stitches.
Can we make it now or not?
I don't think so. But
what was it about?
well, we'll talk about it after. Not everything this whole series has made the podcast, but that's one of my favourites.
It's an interesting one because we often, and not as much anymore, but we went pretty hard early on that we were one
non-cut podcast,
cut podcast, which is an absolute falsehood.
And since then, you literally go off your own tangent for 5 minutes of podcast, so we have to cut at least 4 minutes worth of stuff.
And there'll be times where I'll just say
beep that instead,
and we'll have to cut that too. So
my number 2.
I think that's the fun of the podcast.
Yeah, isn't it?
My number 2, and it's clear we got our most learnings from it.
Sure.
And it's when we had the inspirational Tom Bug on.
Sure.
And he was able to tell us about snippets.
Oh,
and we were nowhere near where we needed to be from an Instagram point of view and a social media point of view.
Hands up.
And we went from, let's say, 900 followers to 10,000 through our snippets.
10,000 is incredible.
Which is, I mean, he's great with his Zuz group. And I saw he had Zuz Cello the other day,
which I didn't get an invite to.
No, there was about 40 people dressed in all white on a yacht in Sydney Harbour, which isn't our sort of way to go. But snippets.
Snippets were huge. That was, if you talk about shifting gears, the gears of our podcast, that was a big shift up. That took us to a new speed. And
do you regret how much you spoke in the Lingers one?
No. Look, I'll be honest with you.
Before Lingers got his sentence out, Angus would go with the next question or get over the top of it.
I really, really build that one up personally. In hindsight, if I had my time again, would I change anything? Absolutely not. I had an awesome time, and it's honestly less about Lingers at that point, more about the podcast. It's a milestone for the podcast, so he was just there.
Compare the nerves for that podcast and for the grand final, because
chalk and cheese. I was twitching. I didn't sleep very well the night before the podcast, and look, he'll come on again. He said he'll come on again if we make it this year. I'll take a lot of learnings away, but I probably overspoke, let's be honest.
And what's your one?
My one is, I think if we were to sit back and honestly reflect on line in the sand moments of this podcast, this is probably, for me, the biggest one. This was when this podcast aired and the fallout came, was when I probably felt the most like this was a special podcast, that it wasn't just some. I was like, geez, we're onto something here. This is significant. And for me, that's the episode where we were up in the hub and we sat down and ate all 6 original shape flavours and then ordered them 1 to 6. And the fallout from that is seriously spectacular.
I've still lost friends off me choosing savoury.
Genuinely spectacular.
I showed my girlfriend that the other night. She hadn't seen it and she's never tried savoury.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, how's that relation? So how do you?
So you're
and
no
then you
longer?
broke up with her?
No longer. No, it's okay because savoury was my 6.
And there's flavours coming out of everywhere at the moment. There's so many different flavours.
Well, we're
in that space. No need to go there.
We're in the space, but they made an Instagram page. We had a heap of. We actually applied for a few jobs on the Shapes website. There was all sorts, and people really got involved and engaged, and it was awesome.
I'd like to change my original number 2 and put it back to 6.
Sure. Oh, as in
cheese and bacon's fallen out.
Okay.
And I've put it, it's now down to 6.
Jeez, I can't remember. Honestly.
I can't remember, but I know I went savoury, then cheese and bacon. Cheese and bacon's now 6.
It was cheddar. You were a cheddar guy. Yeah.
No, savoury's still 1, clear 1.
Understood.
My one is actually what we can also do from a podcast point of view, but less funny this time, more serious. And they're combined. And then there was a couple of other times where we talked about MND and Reach with a few other guests, but the Pink Lady game with Oscar Baker and the Spud game with your lovely partner Danielle.
That was a given. I know Danielle listens, and I didn't say that one on my top 3 because obvious that goes. But it probably goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, but those 2 podcast shows that we can make a difference.
Yeah,
awesome. We raised a little bit of money,
a lot of money. Our podcast team and family got together, and we raised over $5,000 for several causes, I reckon.
And hearing Source speak about the Pink Lady game, and obviously Danielle and the Spud game, and the inspiration that we got before the Spud game from Danielle and yourself, were really cool podcasts. And I actually was quite nervous, interviewing Danielle. It was quite a cool experience.
I don't want any spoilers, but on the money raising side of things, there could be some merch dropping potentially next week on this podcast. So listeners should be ready because they will sell out fast.
And where are we thinking about channeling the revenue there?
Probably has to be
our pockets.
Yeah, at this point. MND's the one that's coming up.
We'll rock off.
No, I'll paper off. That's a good call though, and thank you to everyone. We're feeling reflective maybe because of our 50th, but
we've had some wonderful guests. We've gone outside the club very early on. We went outside the club with our first sort of 10 or 15 guests. We will be going outside the club in the near future. We're just trying to sort out COVID that Gus thought was hilarious.
Yeah, the worst take of 2022.
So we are trying to get some different people on, and we are drying up very thin within the 4 walls as well.
Yeah, a lot less interest and intrigue.
We were thinking about going Rick for a 3rd time today, which is I think we might have even talked to him about coming on for a 3rd time, that's where we're at. But we've had the likes of gold medalist Mac Horden,
we have too.
Hamish Blake, Ryan Shelton, Brian Taylor. You weren't there for that one. That was the one that Rick Lever was on. So Hodgie,
double centurion for Australia.
Yep, you got that out. So yeah, watch this space. We're excited.
Very excited. And Gibby, what's your? I think you gave us a little. It was the premiership episode for you.
Yeah, that's the premiership. I remember in the week leading up, you sort of obviously didn't want to talk about winning, but floated potentially if we won, we could do something after the game. I completely forgot about it because it was obviously a crazy night, and then you guys walked out and did it. But I thought the amazing thing was there was no real preparation, and the way that you just interview the cup at the same time, it's all in sync. It's
the few stubbies probably helped. That cup
even the way the podcast ended with Harmsy singing and we all look off and it just cut out.
Awesome.
It was good. Yep.
All right.
We've had some good times, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Some unreal times.
Let's change tune a little bit.
Sure.
News?
Well, you are the news this week.
Am I?
Everywhere you looked on socials, it was Max Gawn.
Yeah.
I thought I did it relatively incognito until I walked into the MRI and they were all sitting there and they all knew that I had a sore knee. I'm like, when did it? I thought I played out the game.
Yeah, well, look, I said, I can't remember who asked, but I knew that you were sore, but you masked it pretty well, I thought.
Yeah.
And then obviously not.
So a little hiccup halfway through the second quarter, which turns out that I was carrying on. The second half was good. I've got a little bit of a history of my knee, so anything that happens, I'm relatively cautious about my knee. But that's why I'm lucky to have Luke out there, because years gone by, I probably would have had to suck it up and keep banging in there with the knee. So it's all good. I trained today. Trained quite well as well, actually. Kicked a ripper from the pocket.
You did too. So no changes this week from Gus and Gawny match committee?
I'm saying no change. You saying no change?
I'm not commenting. Goodrope's grabbing his notepad to see if we should cut anything. So
Bowie.
15.
15. We'll have to get him back on if he gets to the 18.
Yeah.
The 18's the big
19.
one.
What's 19?
18 is someone in the 20s, 1920s, so a long time ago, who won all of their games consecutive but didn't play every game. So May got dropped, may have missed with injury. So he's got 4 more wins ahead of him.
Wow. And then that's it.
That's
He's
it.
got all of it.
He's the man.
That's incredible.
60,000 members potentially, or
We can lock it in. So it's being announced. It's happened. Jack Viney did the call yesterday, got it done.
So
First time in the club's history.
Club's history.
60,000 members.
What's our old peak?
Last year was 54.
And that's
so we've already passed it, obviously.
And that was the record.
That was the
last
record.
Year? Wow.
And so we're at 60. We want 65.
God, yeah.
I'd like 70. Just keep going.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember when Purdy first rocked up, he said something about 60,000 when we were sitting in the 40s. I'm like, come on, Gary. But then all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, here we are on the precipice of 60,000. So Jack Viney called the member who was the 60,000.
So he called someone who hadn't re-signed.
And said, please re-sign.
He's like, well, we're at 59,999. No pressure, but
I always thought
sign.
this about telethons and call-ups. We call people that haven't signed up and therefore not rewarding the people that have. That happens a lot.
Yeah, but we
also reward those that have signed up as well. Anyway, that's just one of my
Interesting
thoughts.
Good on you, Max.
Is any more news?
Nah, slow news week.
Slow news week. You got anything?
Look, I am keen to get on to the next.
Your notebook is.
I've
covered?
got another line. And
What is it? Oh yes, we're gonna. So we talked about Danielle before.
We did, and she had a jingle. I'm pretty sure. And maybe we could whip a jingle up after this.
It's Danielle.
She's
She's here to chat.
Oh, it was real low grade stuff. And it was Jess's work, and it's Jess that I want to talk about with you right now.
Okay, so Jess hasn't been on the podcast 50 episodes in, and we thought this could be a chance. Now, she's not aware that we're going to call her.
Yeah, so it's not a guest capacity. Obviously, we completely whiffed on getting someone in as a proper guest.
So we've done this with Call Oscar before, and it went pear-shaped. So
it went terribly. So we're going out on a limb, but this is a bit of context here.
bit of context. Jess called me this morning and said we had a cleaner come in this morning.
Yeah.
And said it looks like someone may have picked at the gate.
Yeah, as in a...
But I feel like the
Intruder.
gate was already looked like it was picked at, so maybe the cleaners just overreacted. This could be you could be completely punked on me, and I go home. I got nothing in my house.
Sure.
But I think it's just been a little bit picked.
Sure.
And so Jess is on high alert.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of calling her.
And when you say, I'm thinking of calling her, we've committed to essentially gotcha calling her. So
And I'm going to say the camera's on my phone.
yeah.
I think there might be someone in the front yard.
Yeah. And then I'll jump in at a really comedic time to say, Jess, it's Gus from the Gus and Gawny podcast. We've got you. So, look. And if this goes terribly, we've got the luxury of cutting it all out.
For the record, when Jess re-listens to this, I said that you're a bad husband if you do this.
Yeah.
So that's good for me.
And
Yeah.
I
My
also
back's
said
covered.
that, but Max said, no, we have to do it for the content.
And I said I am a bad husband. So
And anyway, so here we go. We got this.
all right, we need silence.
Please pick up.
Hey,
Yes.
are you home? I've just had the security guys look through the cameras. Is the gate still looking like it's a bit iffy?
I don't think so. Why?
The security guy said he saw someone in our front yard.
Really?
Yeah, this is half an hour ago.
You're just trying to scare me. You're a moron.
Welcome to the Gus and Gawny podcast, Jess. This is a gotcha call. You can relax.
We got ya!
I don't know if we did.
We got ya! We had to call the cops.
You didn't get me one bit.
Oh, not even one bit?
For lots of things. You're lucky you didn't get nasty me.
Oh, well, we have the luxury of cutting it all, so...
Welcome to the podcast. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No.
And can you just recap? We were trying to remember what the Danielle song was.
Yeah, we're thinking of making a jingle for you too, Jess. So
What was the Danielle song?
I can't remember.
Oh, are you nervous?
Don't worry, there's no one in your
What
front
was the
yard.
thing? It was, here's Danielle. She's here to talk.
We thought it might have been chat.
Yeah, we thought it was chat. Okay, talk. All right, thanks, Jess.
Yeah, no one's robbing you. You're going to be all right.
Hooroo.
See you, Jess. Unreal from you.
Text me. Bye.
She was good. Didn't even buy a little bit, did she?
I think she did at the start.
Yeah.
And then when I said half an hour ago,
I don't know what else could you have said?
yeah, that's well done by Jess. I reckon I could have gone back at her and said, no, serious.
Jess, grab the baby and head to the
Yeah.
panic room.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What we haven't done is thanked our sponsors because we didn't go to a break in this episode because it's just a short, sharp little episode. So thank you to Zurich.
Yeah, I mean, Zurich, awesome if you ever are in need of insurance. People often get insurance, so we're happy to provide that service to our listeners. Use Gus and Gawny at checkout for 10% off your $10,000 spent. So
Big thanks to Sporting Globe. No vouchers given out today. We actually didn't go through the segments. They'll be next week.
Yeah.
Gibby said he's been attracted a little bit with Gibby in the flesh, but they're all in captivity as well a little bit. Which is okay with Gibby because it's not wild Gibby.
yeah, it's giving the flesh.
Game day in the lift going from the change rooms to level 3 MCC every single week.
Yeah, right.
So
Okay.
Termites.
Yeah, termite. That's Green Zone termite.
Green Zone termites.
prevention.
Fat Nut Customs,
Fat Nut
Lay Day,
Customs, obviously,
the list
Lay
goes
Day.
on.
Barbians is no longer with us. Look, we just wanted to. I want to remind everyone to send in we'll put an Instagram post. We got the social media to work on that.
Yep. We won't
Top three
say
episodes.
won't say the word putrid.
We won't say it's going to be totally positive. We just want your best 3 episodes. top 3 moments type of thing, just to stoke the good memories. 50 episodes is a fair effort, so thank you everyone here for the team.
Yep.
And for all the listeners and the 10.4k followers.
Here's to either 50 more or potentially only 13 more.
So we'll just wait and see what happens there. Hooroo.